We'll get into this now, and that is everything you need to know about a wrongful dismissal, right?
Wrongful dismissal, a term that's used often, it's often misunderstood, so we want to demystify that so people know if they've been wrongfully dismissed and what to do.
First question, obviously, what is it? What's a wrongful dismissal?
So when I say wrongful dismissal, when people hear the term, they assume that it means something to do about the termination was wrong. It was wrong to let me go. They shouldn't have dismissed me. Usually has nothing to do with that. A wrongful dismissal really doesn't get into whether or not they were right or wrong to let you go. The reason for that is a company is allowed to let you go as long as they pay you severance. So wrongful dismissal almost always is a question of severance. So you've been wrongfully dismissed if you've received an inadequate severance or you've received no severance. That's a wrongful dismissal. If the company has a terrible reason to let you go, John, I don't like your tie, so I'm going to let you go. If I pay you your proper severance, that's not a wrongful dismissal. Okay. That may make me unreasonable, maybe not very bright, but that would not be a wrongful dismissal. That comes down to severance.
It's actually a nice tie. You have the same one. I think you wore it last week.
I won't let you go because of your tie.
Everything you need to know about wrongful dismissal. So just being, a working stiff out there, how do I know if I've been wrongfully dismissed?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, as absurd as this may sound to some people, 90% plus of people, when they're let go, they've been wrongfully dismissed. Even if they have the nicest employer, even if they love their employer and they leave on good terms, most people are wrongfully dismissed because most people are offered inadequate severance. So if you've been let go, chances are, over 90%, I've been doing this for, 16 years now, so I've spoken with literally thousands of people, and I've seen thousands of other severance offers. So I can tell you, you've likely been wrongfully dismissed. You're likely owed much more. SeverancePayCalculator.com is a tool you can go to check that out. So it's your job, if you're the employee being let go, to make sure that you haven't been wrongfully dismissed, to find out what you're owed. Are you owed more bonus? What about your benefits? Yeah. How about commissions, your pension? Is that being properly addressed? If all those things are not properly addressed as part of your separation package, that's a wrongful dismissal.
So how common is a wrongful dismissal? Out of 100 cases that come into the office, how many would be?
Most of them. Wow. I would say almost all of them. My gosh, it's very, very common, John. It's a shame. If I speak to someone and they haven't been wrongfully dismissed, in other words, their offer is appropriate, I'm surprised. I'm calling my neighbor, my colleague down the hall and say, hey, I actually spoke to someone today who had a good severance package. That's how rare it is. And if you may now, right now, John, there's people that have been let go in the past and are watching us now maybe for the first time, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, are you saying that when I was let go 3 years ago, I was really wrongfully dismissed? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Everything
you need to know about wrongful dismissal, that's what we're talking about. So difficult to resolve, a wrongful dismissal?
So usually wrongful dismissal will be in two categories. Either a situation with a termination without cause. Right. In other words, we're letting you go for our reasons, we're paying you severance. Or a situation where you've been let go supposedly for cause, because supposedly you did something so bad, and there really isn't cause. You didn't do something that rises to the level of cause. In both of those scenarios, it's not difficult to resolve wrongful dismissal cases. People, I understand, often are afraid of lawyers. They're afraid of the legal system, and everyone hears horror stories. Oh my gosh, I had to fight someone for 3 years and it cost me this amount of money. And I understand that. And there are some legal issues where that could be the case. Not usually when it comes to employment law, not usually when it comes to wrongful dismissal. In most cases, these matters are easy to resolve. Oftentimes, a letter or two, it's all that's going to require. You're not going to be dealing with this a year later. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money in legal fees. In most cases, there's going to be no legal fees when it's all said and done. So don't let the fear of the process dissuade you from pursuing your wrongful dismissal entitlements.
So maybe some of our viewers now are watching this, listening to these points, going, you know what? I might have been wrongfully dismissed. I might fit into that category. What do they do?
Well, the first question is, what don't you do? What you don't do is you don't sign off on that severance letter. Even if you think, oh my gosh, I did something wrong and I'm lucky to have been offered anything, so I'm going to sign off. No, because you still may have significant entitlement. So you don't sign off on that severance letter. You go to SeverancePayCalculator.com. You call me, you call another employment lawyer if you don't want to call me. That's okay. But you cannot sign off and then later on you realize that you're owed more. Once you sign off on that piece of paper, it's too late. This week alone, I spoke with 3 people who contacted me after they signed off on the letter, and they all felt pressure. They all thought they had no choice. They all were worried about supporting their family, and I get that. So they signed under pressure, but still, once you sign that piece of paper, it's too late. It's your job to make sure you get what you're owed. So if you've been let go, chances are you've been wrongfully dismissed. You have to get some advice.